So have you ever heard of the term money laundering and wondered what it means? Well, simply put together, money laundering is a process by which criminals actually attempt to conceal the illegal origins of their proceedings by passing them through legitimate channels. So this basically involves taking dirty money and making it appear clean by funneling it through a series of transactions or accounts to obscure its true source. And the goal is to actually make the funds appear to have come from a legitimate source even though they were obtained through illegal means. Well, with that being said, money laundering is actually a serious crime and is often associated with organized crime, some rich people, drug trafficking, and also terrorism financing. Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Chaba Malakwan and welcome back to the channel where I talk about personal finance, investing, and everything that you need to know about money. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about money laundering. I'm going to be talking about what is money laundering, why do people actually do money laundering, the common types of money laundering, and the process behind money laundering. And also, I'm also going to be sharing with you some of the best examples where money laundering actually takes place. So please be sure to watch this video till the end, and guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So without wasting any time, let's go straight into the video. So why do people actually do money laundering? So there are a lot of reasons why people actually get involved into money laundering, like unemployment and more, but I will just share with you some of the 5 common reasons why people actually do money laundering. So the first one is to conceal proceedings of illegal activities. So criminals often use money laundering as a way to disguise the illegal earnings and prevent law enforcement from tracing them back to the crime. So this can involve creating fake businesses or shell companies, transferring funds through multiple accounts or jurisdictions, or using complex financial transactions to actually obscure the sources and the nature of the money. So the second reason why people actually do money laundering is to actually avoid paying taxes. So some individuals and some businesses may actually choose to launder money to actually evade taxes or to reduce their tax liability. And this can be done by operating in cash or using offshore bank accounts, which can make it difficult for tax authorities to track and verify their income and assets. The third reason is to actually bypass financial regulations. So money laundering can also be used to circumvent financial regulations such as anti-money laundering laws, currency controls, or economic sanctions. So this can actually involve moving funds through countries with lax regulations, using digital currencies or prepaid cards, or exploiting gaps in the legal frameworks to actually hide or disguise their transactions. And number 4 is to move money across borders. So money laundering can actually be used as a way to move funds across national borders without actually attracting the attention of customs or law enforcement. So this can be done through wire transfers, cash smuggling, or by using intermediaries or front companies to actually move the funds. And the last reason why is to fund legal activities with illegally obtained funds. So finally, money laundering can actually be used to legitimize the processes of criminal activities and use them to fund legal businesses or investments. This can involve buying real estate, investing in stocks or other financial instruments, or starting a legitimate business to launder the dirty money. So now that you know why people actually do money laundering, let's go back and talk about how does the money laundering process actually work. So the money laundering process typically involves 3 stages, which is placement, layering, and also integration. So now let's talk about placement. So this is the first stage of the money laundering process in which the illegal proceeds are actually introduced into the financial system. So this can involve depositing cash into a bank account, purchasing assets such as real estate or vehicles, or using a legitimate business to actually commingle the dirty money with clean funds. And the second one is layering. So in this stage, the funds are moved through a series of transactions or accounts to make it difficult to trace their origin. So this can actually involve wire transfers, currency exchanges, or the use of intermediary or shell companies to disguise the true source of the funds. And then the final stage, integration. So the final stage of the money laundering process involves actually making the funds appear to have come from a legitimate source. So this can actually involve investing the funds into a legitimate business, purchasing assets such as real estate also, or luxury goods, or simply depositing the funds back into a bank account with a plausible explanation for their origins. Like that type of business story, guys. If you know, you know. If you don't know, go and check it out on the news. So after all those stages, by the end of the process, the funds have actually been cleaned and can actually be used without actually arousing any suspicion. But however, law enforcement agencies often employ sophisticated techniques to actually track and investigate money laundering activities, including the use of financial intelligence units, forensic accounting, and also the analysis of transaction patterns and other data. So guys, it's a criminal offense to actually be laundering money. That's all you have to know. Moving on, let's now talk about the common techniques used for money laundering. So there are various ways that individuals can actually launder money, but they generally involve disguising the illegal sources of the funds and integrating them back into the legitimate financial system. So some of the common methods of money laundering include The first common technique is known as smurfing, also known as structuring. So this basically involves breaking up large sums of money into smaller amounts and depositing them back into various bank accounts. So this can actually help to avoid suspicion and detection by authorities, like spending 100k at a club on alcohol. Like guys, come on, who spends 100k on just a number of alcohol without actually drinking all of that alcohol? Some of the things they need to see that is actually money laundering. But hey, that's a story for another day. And the second technique is called trade-based money laundering. So this basically involves using trade transactions such as the sale of goods to actually move money across borders and hide the true sources of the funds. For example, an individual may actually over-invoice or under-invoice the value of goods in a trade transaction to actually move funds across borders, like spending a lot of money or lots of millions on just a piece of art. So that's also one of the methods where money laundering actually happens. The third technique to actually launder money is to use what is called shell companies. So these are companies that are actually set up solely for the purpose of money laundering. They can be used to actually obscure the true ownership of assets and funds, and can also be located in jurisdictions with low tax rates or weak regulations. Like that Tabo Pesta and Dr. Nandi's story where she was using that whole medical facility of hers to actually launder money. Tabo Pesta, but hey, it's another story for another day. The fourth technique is real estate. So money laundering can actually be achieved by purchasing real estate with illegally obtained funds and then reselling the property at a higher price. This can make the illegal funds appear as though they were obtained through legitimate means. So number 5, cryptocurrencies. So digital currencies like Bitcoin can actually be used to move funds across borders and evade detection. They can also be used to purchase goods and services without the need for a bank account. And the last but not least, gambling. So casinos and other gambling establishments can actually be used to launder money by exchanging cash for chips or other forms of value, which can then be cashed out or used to purchase goods and services. So as I've mentioned before, that money laundering can actually be done to evade taxes, which is mostly done by rich people. And one of the most common ways that they do that is by buying art and also laundering money through their what? Charities. So let's break down the art technique. So you've probably heard that rich people actually buy art to diversify their portfolio, and that art grows in value as time progresses. So for example, this piece of art right here, which is called The Interchange by William de Kooning, sold for 300 million guys. That's basically 5 billion rands here in South Africa. But come on guys, who will buy art for 300 million without actually laundering money? But with that being said, it is said that the only reason why this art was actually expensive is because the painting's large size and striking composition helped to actually drive its high sales price, and also because maybe that artist, William de Kooning, was also one of the best artists in his time. But I don't understand, I don't understand the other justifications, guys. Why is it selling for 300 million? Guys, look at this art. Like my little sister can also do this, guys. Hey. So with that being said, guys, here are some ways in which people actually launder money through art. The first way they do that is by over-invoicing. So an individual can actually purchase a piece of art for a relatively low price, but then report a significantly higher value to custom officials when the artwork is moved across borders. So this inflated value can actually be used to transfer money to a bank account in other countries without making it appear though the money came from the legitimate art sale. And the second one is under-invoicing. So alternatively, an individual can actually purchase a piece of art for a high price, but then report a lower value to custom officials when the artwork is actually moved across borders. And the difference in price can then be paid out of illegal funds, making it appear as though the money was spent on legitimate art purchase. Number 3, once again, shell companies. So similar to other money laundering methods, shell companies can be used to obscure the true ownership of artwork. A shell company can actually be set up to purchase the artwork and then resell the artwork at a higher price. The difference in that price can then be used to launder illegal funds. Number 4, private sales. So private sales of art are not subject to the same level of scrutiny as public sales, making them a popular method for money laundering. So private sales can be arranged through intermediaries, making it difficult for authorities to trace the true sources of the funds actually. So now let's talk about how people do money laundering through charities, right? So charities can actually be used for money laundering because they are generally viewed as trustworthy and transparent organizations that exist to serve the public and good. However, some individuals may use charities as a front for their illicit activities, like how some rich people will say, I'm going to donate all my money to a charity and leave nothing for my kids, but then proceed to register their charity organizations under their kids' name. But anyway, here are some ways that charities can actually be used for money laundering. So the first one is donations from illegal sources. So an individual can make a donation to a charity using funds that were illegally obtained, such as through drug trafficking or embezzlement. And the charity then provides a receipt for the donation, making it appear as though the funds were obtained through legitimate means. Number 2, false grants. An individual can set up a fake charity and then apply for grants from legitimate charitable organizations or government agencies. Then the fake charity can then receive the grant and then use the grant money to use it to launder illegal funds. So number 3, salaries and expenses. So an individual can actually set up a legitimate charity, then pay themselves and others inflated salaries or expenses. Then the excess of funds can then be used to launder money. So number 4, moving funds across borders. So charities that operate in multiple countries can be used to actually move funds across borders without attracting any attention. For example, an individual can make a donation to a charity in one country, then have the charity transfer the funds to another country. Okay, so with that being said, guys, it's worth noting that these methods are not foolproof and can be detected by authorities through careful investigation, and that governments and other financial institutions around the world have implemented a range of measures to actually detect and prevent money laundering, including increased transparency in financial transactions like the KYSC, which is the Know Your Customer regulations, and suspicious activities, reporting transactions, and also monitoring, guys. So guys, we've came to the end of the video, but if you actually want a part 2 of this video, just comment in the comment section and say part 2, and I will actually gladly do that video for you, because there are a lot of things that I haven't covered in this video. But if you want a part 2, then you can actually comment in the comment section below and I will gladly do one for you. And if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and note that money laundering is actually a very serious offense, and I was just spreading awareness on this case. But with that being said, if you really want to know more about how stocks and ETFs work, then I highly recommend you to watch this video right here where I talk about ETFs versus stocks if you want to know more about that.